Okay, so let's take a look at arrays as a data type. We have had a very quick look at these before, but let's get into a bit more detail with them. So first of all, I'm in my intro to JS folder, and I've got this open. I'm just going to right click on my index.html and open with Live Server so that I've got that document open, and right click inspect and head to the console. You can see that I've got an old file running here, but that's absolutely fine. What I want us to do is to add a new file in here, and we're going to call this arrays.js. And then head on back to your index.html and just create a new script tag. So I'm going to use Option Shift and down to copy that down, or you can just go ahead and copy and paste it in. It's up to you. And then just change this conditionals.js to arrays.js. And don't forget that you can use the autocomplete as well, and just make sure that your spelling is exactly as you've called this. In terms of these two scripts that we're importing here, I'm actually just going to comment them out. So highlight them and Command // and you'll see that VS Code has gone and kind of put them in one comment here using the HTML comment syntax. And that just means that when we save it, we only get our arrays script running. Of course, there's nothing running in it just yet. And what this will be is, this means that you can come back to this this HTML document, and if you just want to run your arrays scripts, then you can go ahead and just uncomment this. If you just want to run your conditionals, you can uncomment that, and it just makes it really straightforward for you to go and run bits of code to refer back to later. Okay, so let's have a look at arrays.js. So what is an array in JavaScript? Well, it's basically like it's an ordered list of data. So let's have a look at some, and that might make a little bit more sense as we go along. So the first way that we can make an array in JavaScript, we'll want to save it into a variable. So I'm going to say const my array equals, and then we can use something called literal notation. And all this is we use square brackets to make our array. Now, inside these square brackets, we can put elements. Now, these are different to HTML elements, although once we start doing DOM manipulation, that'll all make sense in a bit, it can get a little bit confusing. But array element, the things that are in an array are called elements. So I'm just going to make an array of numbers here. So I'm going to say 1, and then we split up our elements using a comma. And then I'm going to say 2, and I'm going to say 3, 4, 5. Now, this array can hold any number of elements until we run out of memory anyway. But it can hold any kind of data type as well. We'll get onto that in a moment. There is just something I want to show you. There is a sort of not really recommended way, but another way of making arrays in JavaScript. And I'd like to show you this because if you're Googling around for solutions to your problems in Stack Overflow and stuff like that, you may see this done elsewhere. So we can say const my new array. We set this equal to, and we can use the class constructor for arrays. And this looks like this: new array, and then parentheses. So that's another way that we can make an empty array. And I mean, it's up to you which one you use. I would go and have a bit of a read about this new array constructor, but I would I would prefer everyone to use this. It's actually a little bit faster and it's a little bit better computing wise. And this is the method that you will see most commonly used. Okay then, so let's see what we can do with our arrays. So let's go ahead and try and get one of our array elements. So what I want to do is I want to console.log out the first element in this my array. So let's go ahead and console.log my array. We use the, apologies for my typing, we use the variable name, and then to grab one of the elements from that array, we use square brackets straight after it. And this allows us to add what's called an index. So if we want the first element, surely we use the number 1, right? Okay, let's save that now and see what happens. So Command S, and I'm going to go over, I'll just move my window about a little for you. I'm going to go over to my console. That's a bit odd. You'll see that we've got 2. So 2 is actually the second element. So what does that tell us? Well, it means that arrays in JavaScript are what's called 0 indexed. And that means that they start from 0. So if we wanted to get this first element here, I would actually have to put 0 there. And there we go. You can see that we now have the first element in our array. If I just zoom in here a little. Fantastic. So just remember that all of our array indexes start from 0. So let's just put a little note here. In the array, get the first element in the array. So there are some languages that arrays start at 1, but they're very uncommon. There's Lua is one of them. In fact, that cost me a lot of time on a programming project a long time ago, where I was out by 1, and it's because Lua arrays start at 1, not 0. There's R, which is used for statistical analysis. You've got Fortran, which isn't that often used, but there is some code out there. COBOL, if you're a dinosaur, and MATLAB is another one. There are a couple of others, but they're kind of the main ones where they've got 1. Indexes start from 1. But most of the more commonly used languages all start from 0. Okay, so let's say we want to update, we want to change part of our array. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and console.log my array. And underneath here, I'm going to console.log it again. So console.log my array. Now, why are we doing this? So I'm printing it out twice because I'm going to write some code in here and we're going to see the change that happens between these two console.logs. Okay, so the first one, let's say we want to update this to be the number, the word 1 instead of the number 1. So what we can do is we can say my array at index 0, and then we literally just pretend it's a variable. We reassign it as if it was a variable. So we can say equals, and then I'm going to set this to the string of 1 instead. So if I save this, brilliant. You'll see that my array started as the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We changed index 0 to the word 1, and then we've logged it out again, and you'll see that it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. So that's basically how we update elements in our array by the index. So another thing that we can do is we can add elements to the ends of our array. quite easily. So the way that we do this is actually, let's just write a little note here. So here we are updating an element. Great. So here, what we want to do is we want to add to the end of our array. And we'll be using something here called push. So what we do here is we get our array, we say my array, and then we can say dot push. After this, because this is a method, and you'll see here in the little reference that we've got, it says it's a method. And we need parentheses afterwards because it's a method. And again, it just says new elements to add to the array. It appends new elements to the end of the array, and it returns the new length of the array. Don't worry about that too much just yet. We can have a look at that in a moment. So if we're going to push, let's say, the number 6 to our array, let's see what happens when we save this. Ah, fantastic. So our array started as this. We changed index 0 to 1, and then we've also pushed the number 6 to our array. Fantastic. Let's kind of do the opposite. Let's put something on the front of our array, on the start of our array. So we can use something called unshift to do this. So we can say my array dot unshift and parentheses, and then what do we want to add to the start of it? Well, I'm just going to add a string of start. Save this. Fantastic. Unshift has gone ahead and pushed kind of start to the start of our array, the first element in our array. Excellent. Let's do the opposite of both of those. So I'll just make a note here. So add to beginning of array. So what if we want to remove from end of array? Well, we can use something called pop. So we can say my array dot pop, and this doesn't need any arguments because it's just going to remove the last element from the array. So if we save this now, you'll see, yep, it has now removed that number 6 that we had on previously. What about removing from the beginning now? So remove from beginning of array. So we can use my array dot shift. We need parentheses, don't forget. And if I save this now, you'll see that we've gone back to it not having that start in the array. So what have we done here? Well, we got the first element of our array and we've logged that out. And we're logging the whole array here just so that we can see it in our console to compare. We've updated the first element to be the word of 1. We pushed the number 6 to it. We put the word start on the beginning of the array. We then removed the last element of the array, and we removed the first element of the array with shift. We've then also logged it out as well so that we can see everything that was happening.